Hey guys, welcome to the companion series to readings from Gift of the Shaper. So this is something that I'm going to try and do, basically like see if I like it, see how it works, see the kind of reaction that I get from you guys. You know, whether you like the old format of interspersing the commentary into the reading of the chapter, or if you prefer like a separate standalone video like the one that I'm doing here. So. Um, Basically, this is going to be kind of like I said, a companion series to the readings. And basically, I'll touch on some of the topics that we talked about in the chapter, go through my mentality going into it, that kind of stuff. So, chapter 6 covered Dylas and Adrian, and they were basically in this prison. We're not sure where they are now, and they had a stranger dragged in with them. So the stranger isn't named. I'm sure you can probably figure out who the stranger is if you've read the book. So, but for the sake of spoilers and everything, I won't say. But I did want to talk a little bit about the Athrani and kind of how I came up with them. So essentially, the Athrani are one of two magic users, for lack of a better term. The other being the Kith, who we've already met. The fire, the fire beings, basically, in chapter 4. So I wanted to differentiate between a normal human and an Athrani. And as I was writing the book, I was kind of struggling with like how exactly I should be doing that. And to me, the best way of doing that was the eyes. So, it was a struggle, basically, because I didn't want to have some crazy outlandish, oh, they have spikes on their head, or, they have blue skin or whatever. It was important to me to make them as possible, as close as possible to humans as I could, for various literary reasons. But for the most part, it was, I settled on the eyes. So the eyes were a really big deal to me. And as you can see, I devoted basically an entire page of chapter 6 to explaining my rationale for, why the eyes were so important. So Athrani eyes, obviously, like I say, are extremely important in their society. And basically, the better, so to put it in general terms, the stronger your magic abilities, the thicker your ring is going to be. So the ring is like, instead of the white that we have in human eyes, it's like it's a second separate color. So sometimes it's the same color, like there's blue on blue. We're going to meet a character later who's blue on blue. They are not necessarily constrained to human eye colors. There's like gold. We'll meet a character who's got like I said, gold. So it's not necessarily like you're not going to find one human color or whatever necessarily, like a brown and a blue or whatever. So, but the stronger your affinity with the other world and with magic, essentially with shaping, the thicker your ring is going to be. So that was kind of one of the ways that I differentiated my the magic users and everything like that. And just by looking at a character, you can tell like, okay, this guy's very powerful, or whatever. So the Otherworld was one of the other things that we talked about that was mentioned in here. So that's the first mention of the Otherworld in the book. Obviously, it's going to be, the Otherworld is going to play a role later on in the book. So I'm not going to give it all away, but I wanted to very slowly introduce it into the book, to the reader, to you. And, I wasn't going to give away all the secrets right away, which I'm still not going to do. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is. But so obviously it's, I wanted to do away with this kind of idea of a heaven or of a hell. This isn't, I'm making up my own mythology here. I'm not going to lean on like Christianity or, Islam or anything like that. So I'm essentially, I had to kind of make up, alternate dimension, afterlife, what have you. But the other world was my answer to that. So, you'll eventually learn, it's where the Athrani draw their power from. So I do go into detail later in the book, but here we have our very first mention of it. So, and then lastly, we touch on Ellenos, which is the city where the Athrani are from. So, to me, the Athrani are, I don't want to say they're derived from elves, but I tend to think of them as a little more fair when compared to humans. So they are capable of shaping, essentially of using magic. So they're definitely different from humans. They are absolutely different from humans. But I wanted to be very distinct when I raise the point of Ellenos, and I want them to have a specific culture, a specific city that they're from. So an Elenian, someone who is from Ellenos, is going to have that sort of cultural identity. They're going to have their own sort of culture, their own society, not necessarily their own language, although we do there is some ancient Athrani that does rear its head later in the book. So the Elenians, to a greater degree, the Athrani are their very own people. So humans, you can find even on this world, our world, you can find humans everywhere. We're in every sort of every time zone, every climate, every place on the face of the planet. So in Gift of the Shaper, humans are very much similar, but Athrani tend to keep to themselves a little more. So, and we'll see that also throughout the book. So, that's basically that's pretty much what I had planned out for chapter 6 as far as like discussion topics. If you guys have any questions about any of the characters so far, any of the plot lines, anything like that, feel free to leave some comments for me. Look me up on Facebook, DL Jennings. Feel free to throw some comments my way. I'm more than happy to. I would love to hear what you think, what you have to say. So, thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for chapter 7. At some undetermined date and time. So thanks for stopping by.